and we are a data company. We are a data company that will get you listing leads. Now, you are using us for the just listed, just sold postcards in the concierge program, and that's great. And anytime you have a transaction, you really should get these cards out because it just shows everybody in the neighborhood what you are doing. But we also have what we call a farming program, which is how you generate new leads. Now, the listing concierge program is fantastic. You know, you have so many ways that you can distinguish yourself as a top agent in the community by offering these things. However, I feel that RSP is almost like the prequel to the listing concierge program, because what we're doing is we're getting you those listing leads so that you can use the program. I'm going to try to share my screen, so give me a second. So RSP, this is our main website. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great. RSP Pro is our main website. This is where you can go to find all of the different things that we have up here. But I want to show you how we target areas and send out what we call a report to homeowners. Now, in order to farm, you choose areas that you want to build your business. Could be a number of different ways that you want to build. Maybe you live in the area, maybe you already do a lot of business, maybe you grew up in an area. So you choose the areas you want to farm based on street level and subdivisions, small subdivisions on Long Island. Now, what happens is we will create a report for you. What happens is a lot of agents do want to farm. They do start to farm, but then life gets in the way. Your business becomes busy, you don't have the time to do it. And usually what happens is your marketing wanes from there. So we're going to make you stay on top of that. We're going to keep you consistent in the community and keep your name in front of them. And we do that by allowing you to choose those areas, and we'll send this report out to them. Now, this report is 8.5 by 11. It's printed on a heavy cardstock. We take data from MLS and from tax roll, and we merge them together so that we're sending to the homeowners. That means we're never going to be mailing to vacant houses, and we're never mailing to tenants. They're always going to be to the homeowners specifically. If you notice down here, it does actually have the names of the homeowners. It's not just the generic, our neighbors at, things like that. Here you're going to see a cover letter. The cover letter is something we'll create for you. Now, the best part of our program that I've heard from agents is that we're doing all the work for you. Now, John was mentioning about those 4 points. I'll bet you none of those points have anything to do with creating your own marketing pieces. So what you want to do is you want to be out there and you want to be in front of those homeowners. You want to be talking to people, and that's your job. Our job is to create these reports for you so that you can be in front of them. So this little part here, this is a cover letter. Now, we create it for you and it will change for every mailing. However, it is editable. So my suggestion to you is to take 15 minutes every 60 days to just kind of tweak it a little bit, make it a little more personalized. You'll reach all of those homeowners with that extra 15 minutes to do that. It makes a big difference to give that personal touch. Here you're going to see a map, and the map will be a map of the neighborhood of where you're sending these reports to. It's going to show that homeowner what's sold in the area, and it's going to give them a website to go to. The myhomes.com website is a personal web page, it appears to be, to the homeowner that you created for them. Now, all they have to do is put in a code. We give every homeowner a code that's unique to them. That means they don't have to put any personal information in. They don't even have to put their name or their email address. They just put in the code, and you're going to get an email saying these people just went to look on this website. On that email, it's going to tell you what that code is so you can go there and see exactly what that homeowner saw. We'll take a look at that in a minute. This is the inside of the report, and the inside of the report looks like comps. We pull this information from MLS and put it together for you. All right, you don't have to do this work. This will show that homeowner all the homes that's sold in their area, how much it's sold for, because homeowners are very nosy. They want to know how much that house went for, what did it look like, and things like that. Here you're going to see featured properties. Now these are going to be your just listed, just solds. It doesn't have to be 3 pictures. It could be 1, 2, 3. It could even be none if you're a newer agent. But if you have maybe somebody in your office that has a listing in the area, you can always ask them, hey, you know what? You have a listing in this area. Would you mind if I put it in my report? It's going to help them to promote that listing, and at the same time, it could fill in this info. Now, if you don't have anything, we can take the map that was on the first page and put it here. The homeowner will never realize that they're missing anything. So this report will go out every 60 days. The reason it goes out 60 days and not 30 is because the data doesn't change enough. Now, I told you we have that website for that homeowner to go to. That's called myhomes.com. Myhomes.com will give them an area to put their code in. They put their code in, they hit go, and it opens up to a page that looks like this. Now this page is a demo page, and here it says this is for demo purposes only. And I have to be honest with you, there is supposed to be a box here. I'm going to try it again to see if we can open that up. You'll have to forgive me, I'm on a hotel server, so I'm not quite sure how my internet is working here. Here we go.
Doing okay.
All right. Here you're going to see on the top, it's going to say this is for demo purposes only. That will be their street address. You're going to have 3 boxes here. The first box you're going to see here is a moving Google Street View of the front of their home, and that always catches the homeowner's attention. Here you're going to see a box that will tell them a best estimate, and it gives them a very broad range best estimate. And the reason is we want them to call you to find out where they fall into that range. The third column is a box about the real estate trends in their zip code. So we're trying to give them as much information as possible to keep their interest here. Here you're going to see one agent. Now the one agent is here because your areas that you choose to farm are going to be exclusive to you. That means that once an agent chooses a street or a small subdivision, it's off limits to any other agent in any agency, whether it's Coldwell Bank or American Homes or anybody else. Here you're going to have boxes. So if the homeowner clicks on any of these boxes, if they fill in the information on there and they submit it, you're going to get a second email saying they just requested either a CMA or maybe they want to know, should they remodel? Is it worth it? Whatever their request is, you're going to get that second email. Here you're going to see the map again, but this one's interactive. And if you click on any of those solds, it's going to show you how much that house sold for and a little info there. More information is available to them at the bottom here. If they wanted to see what that house looked like, they can click on the more details. They'll see a description of that house along with pictures of the inside and outside of the house. Like I said, homeowners are very nosy. They want to see what that house sold for, what did it look like, and we're giving that information to them. Actually, it appears like you're giving them that information. Pretty cool website though, and it really does keep that homeowner's attention. Here we're going to go back to the RSP Pro website. This is where you're going to see now what is available. This part is for agents only. This is not for the homeowner. So here you're going to go see what areas are available that you might want to farm. I just put in the Syosset zip code. We hit get started, and it will open up to a page that looks like this. This page will show you the street names on the left. They're going to be in numerical, then alphabetical order. And on the right, you're going to see a map of that zip code. They're going to have dots on it, and they'll either be green or red. If they're green, that means those areas are available to be farmed. Red means somebody is already farming them and they're not available. On the left side, you're going to see, like I said, those street names, they're in alphabetical order. If they're white like this, that means they correlate to a green dot. They are available. It'll say add area. If they're taken already, it's going to show you a slight pinkish color, and it'll say add to wait list as opposed to add area. So that's how you can tell what is still available. We're going to take Andover Drive in Syosset. If you don't know where that is, you can click on the name of the street itself, and it pulls you to where it is on the map here. So on the map here, it shows that Andover Drive is available. It has 23 homes here. On here, your second column tells you the turn rate. The turn rate are the percentages of homes that sold in 1 year and 5 years. I like to use the 5-year average rather than the 1 year because 1 year can fluctuate tremendously. Also remember when you're looking at turn rates to look at the number of homes. If you have, say that again? If you have only 3 homes, your turn rate is not necessarily very accurate. If you have 100 homes, it will definitely be much more accurate. So here you're going to see 3.5% for 5 years on 23 homes. You're going to see what your average price is. The average price are the average price of all the homes that sold in the last 5 years. In this case, it's $820,000. Here you're going to see a details button. Details will tell you all the homes that are on that street that are going to be targeted. And at the top, it'll show you all the homes that sold in the last 5 years. We're going to tell you which home sold, the date it sold, the MLS number, the listing and selling price, listing and selling agents. So we give you a lot of information in just a couple of clicks here. If this was a street you decided you wanted a farm, you would click Add Area. It turns your dot purple or blue. And at the bottom in the middle, it shows you how many you've selected. And that's how you continue to choose your farm areas. If you wanted to see what those neighboring streets are, you click on the dots. It'll tell you the street name and the information will appear here. Continue to add. And that's how you create a farm. Now, if you wanted to do some streets in this zip code, maybe some in another zip code, you can certainly do that. You choose the number of streets you want here. And then what you would do is you would change your zip here. John, is there another zip code you might want to look at? I think you're muted, John.
11801.
Is that Hicksville?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to look at 11801, click change zip. And again, the street names appear on the left and the map appears on the right. As you can see, Hicksville is pretty wide open. Only a few red dots here, but for the most part, it's green, which is great for you. It means I need to do more work. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just take a look. Maybe we want to see where 6th Street is. 6th Street is right there. We want to add that area. As you can see, it just added to what we previously had at the bottom. So that's how you continue to choose. Now this number at the bottom needs to be at least 325. 300 is the minimum to get started to farm with us, but I tell you to choose at least 325. And the reason is we're going to scrub that list for you. So we're not going to be mailing to bank-owned properties, builders, LLCs, corporations. We're taking them out automatically. And you can take a look at that list and you can go through it and maybe you notice that there is a real estate agent that lives there. So you can take them off. You don't have to mail to them. So we really are a very micro-targeted farming program. We're not just mailing to everybody, we're mailing to those people who are making the decision to sell those houses. And any questions on this part so far?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
When we're looking at the map, right, you're saying we may see some of the area that we want to, with people already in it. Does this mean this program has existed before we've gotten it?
Yes. So
how long has that been?
Well, the company has been around since 1997. It's been on Long Island, probably, I'm going to say about 4.5, 5 years now.
Okay, so what percentage of the listings in Syosset are taken?
I don't know what the percentage is, but we can go back and look at the map again. So I would say that's probably less than half is taken. Close to half. That would be my estimate just based on that. And you would
Okay, so then based on the 325 need for the salesman, what's the cost?
So if you were doing 300, that's a great question. So if you were doing 300, the pricing is a $39 monthly fee. That includes us giving you the exclusive rights to those areas and then pulling the data from the MLS. After that, you're paying per piece. So per house, it's going to be 99 cents, which includes design, print, and postage. All right. And so if you were doing roughly 300, it would roughly be $300 every other month and $39 every month.
And that postage includes first class postage?
That is standard postage. If
Okay,
you want to do first class, I think it's an extra 10 cents a piece.
okay.
All right. Any other questions on that? So what this is designed to do is to make you consistent in your getting in front of people and creating new business for you. I know a lot of times everybody's like, oh, I get all my business from sphere of influence, which is great. And you do want to continue to do that. But you also want new business. And this is a great way of doing it. Farming has been around forever. We did not create that. We didn't create farming, but we definitely did perfect it. And what we're doing is we're helping you to be consistent. And that's really the biggest part of farming, is if you're not consistent with it, it's not going to work. Anybody else? Did I put you all to sleep?
Now, that was great. That was excellent.
Not
So
at
I
all,
have
very-
your contact information. Does somebody have a question?
No, I was just saying, not at all. It's very interesting. Paying attention.
Okay, great, George. Thanks. So I have Melanie's contact information. It would be great to actually, talk about this as an option when we do your business plan meeting. And I thank you for your time today, Melanie, and we'll certainly be getting back to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay,
I just put my information in the chat if anybody needs it.
excellent. That's great. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's just go a little deeper into that before we get to our announcement part of our meeting and some other stuff I'd like to talk about. It's great to have this consistency. I think it makes a lot of sense to do it every 2 months instead of every month. And the data that the homeowner is getting looks like it's very good. The issue is you cannot just pay your bill every month and then sit on your ass. You have a list. This is a list of people you're mailing to. You should be visiting them with flyers. You should be getting their phone numbers. You should be targeting them on social media. You can't just use one medium. You have to use multiple mediums. And obviously, you want to be aware of any expireds or FSBOs in that area, because when you can get a listing in the area that your postcards are going out, now you can really do some damage. So you'll be doing your twice monthly mailings, and then you get that listing, and you'll be doing the just listed and just sold. Now people start seeing you everywhere they turn. They see your sign on the lawn. It makes a big difference. So if you were going to do this to assuage your guilty conscience for not working hard enough, that would not be a good thing. That this is not, let's pay the bill every month and then go to the golf course. You need to work that list if you're going to mail to that list. But as I said, we can talk more in there. This is not to discourage you from doing other things like being a prospector, a converter, or networker. But if you want to be a marketer, this is an essential part of the marketing. And I think this is a very reasonable program when you add up the cost. Okay, so there is information in the chat if you want to take that, but I would like you to call me if you're thinking about doing it so we keep on the same path. Let's talk about some.
John, can I have a question first?
Absolutely, Jim.
Okay, so we basically can do this with Kohl's as far as emails go, but they're limited in terms of the number of emails we have. As Coldwell and Century 21, do they have something similar to this? Because you gotta, after what you said, it's $400 a month. That's a lot of green.
Well, no, it's 339
Plus
every other
99
month.
cents.
No, the 300 was the 99 cents. So 300 counts for 300 cards going out and 39 for your transaction costs. So
Yeah,
it's
300
339
plus
every
39.
other
Yeah,
month
right.
and
Right.
39 every other month. And when you add it up for the year, that's really not a big financial investment. Again, I would not have you do it unless you were going to use that list and really pound those people so that you made a difference and they just don't throw your card in the garbage every time they get it. So that the website, My Home Estimate, is a very attractive thing. We know that agents who do the just listed, just sold do get leads from that. It's one of the reasons we like the RSP product, because that is attractive to homeowners, and the way it's set up, they don't have to give you contact information. We already have it by getting the code. So it's all good. But yeah, Jim, we can talk more about it if this is something you wanted to get into. And there are other sources we can use besides Cole. They're not Century 21 or Coldwell Banker resources, but where there's a will, there's a way. And it takes a little extra work if it isn't in Coles, but it is definitely worth it to do that. Yeah. So, for example, if you were starting now or next month, the first thing I would do is I would be wanting to do a food drive for Thanksgiving in those 300 homes. That's the kind of way that you leverage, your presence and the money that you're spending on the cards. You have to piggyback other activities on top of it, but it can be very useful. Okay, so we had two listings since the last meeting. Both of them, unfortunately, just rentals, but 37 Walters Avenue in Syosset is a 3-bed, 1-bath in a legal 2 on the top floor. And if you need more information, that's Shirley. And Jim just put out 51 Thorman Avenue in Hicksville. He's got his 60 leads already. So get in line. But those are really well-run properties. Jim sort of manages those, so it's all good. Okay, this afternoon is our international lunch at Bethpage State Park picnic area. It starts at 12:30 in an hour and a half. It goes for 2 hours. And if you have not made anything or don't have the time to bring something, please come. There will be plenty of food. Do not feel guilty if you're not bringing anything. There will be plenty of food, more food than we'll ever be able to eat, even with Mike Sims there. So please drop by if you can. You don't have to be there at 12:30, but we will start packing up at 2:30. So if you want to eat, you got to get there at least by 2. We talked about the new year. The real estate new year starts in October, because most of the work that you're going to do now is going to give you a check in January and February and March. We always have to look ahead, because if we haven't been doing anything the last 3 months, why would we expect to get anything done now? So the work we do in October, November, and December is our first checks for the new year. And we're going to celebrate the new year in a joint social. The date is already set for October 21st, is a Thursday. It will be a cocktail hour, 4 to 6 p.m. At the Refuge on 110 in Melville in the patio area. So save that date, October 21st, and there will be no cost to you for that. So feel free to come and be part of that. Our business plan reviews start next week. Please, if you can, text me or email me or call me and schedule something for next week. Otherwise, by the middle of next week, I will start calling you. So either you call me or I call you. We're going to get it done in the next couple of weeks. Okay, the last thing is paperwork. I've been working together with our transaction manager, and it's amazing to me how much had slipped by before and cannot slip by anymore. So the first thing is you understand you're not going to get your commission check until the paperwork is straightened out. And that doesn't just mean having the transaction report in dot loop. We need all the paperwork. And the fact is, all the paperwork should have been there by the time it got into contract. Unfortunately, we still have people getting paperwork after contract or the day before the closing. That is illegal. It does not make any sense. It violates a lot of different laws and subjects you to sanctions by the Department of State or fines by the federal government. So let's go through it very carefully. Number one, agency disclosure must be done at first substantial contact. So we don't have to meet them. We could be talking on the phone and making an appointment. We need to go into dot loop and send them the agency disclosure and tell them how we're working with them. I recommend that you explain buyer brokerage and you work in their interest with them as your client. That really is the only way for you to make money with a buyer. The other way is fraught with danger, so don't do it. Number two, fair housing disclosure. It is not optional, it is required by law. That also needs to be done before the first appointment or at the first appointment. So most of the paperwork that you need should already be in. Now, if you're doing a listing, obviously we have to have listing paperwork, and yet that is definitely no problem because neither Linda nor I are going to put anything on Stratus until we see the paperwork. And if I see your listing on there, first thing I'm going to do is go to dot loop and make sure that you've put the paperwork in. And it will come down if the paperwork is not there. We cannot list things without paperwork. That does not work. Every price change needs paperwork. Every extension needs paperwork. You know, so they call Linda the day before it's going to be expired and they say, you know, can you extend it for a month? And Linda has to say, where is the paperwork signed by the homeowner that says you have another month? So let's not fool around with that. If it's a buyer, you need the sales agreement in there when they make the offer. When you get the accepted offer, you need to get the lead paint signed before the home inspection. What's the point of telling somebody they can do a lead paint inspection if it's going to be the day before the closing? So it is very important for every house built before 1978 to have the lead paint. Now, the real kicker is I'm getting lead paints signed by a buyer, not on the form that the seller is signing. So what are you disclosing? The seller hasn't told you whether they know anything about lead paint and you're signing a blank form. Does not make any sense. I can't tell you how many of these I've seen. So you have to get the lead paint from the listing agent. And if you are the listing agent, you have to make sure the buying agent gets you a copy of the lead paint signed by the buyer. There are hefty fines if you get caught. Now, do people get caught every day? No. But you get caught and you end up with a $10,000 or $15,000 fine. That is your fine. It is not covered by E&O, and it goes right on your account. They're going to come after you, not after us. Please, please be careful. I know paperwork is only important when it becomes important, but you have to make sure that you get into the routine of bringing the paperwork to Loop when it happens. When you make first contact, agency, and fair housing. When you get an accepted offer, lead paint, sales agreement. When you're done to close the file, you need to fill out the transaction report and submit it for review. Each loop has a status, and you should be changing that as you go along. But if you don't change it, don't worry, because if you put something on the contract in Stratus, I'm going to go in Loop and make sure that the status is correct. We have to help our transaction manager help us stay compliant. So it is very important. Okay, one last thing. I have Quentin on the call. Quentin, are you good to talk?
Yes, sir. Pulled over.
You're not driving, are you?
No.
Okay, so the last time I looked, interest rates were up 22% in the last 30 days. How is that affecting our mortgage rates?
Yeah, we're up about 1/4% since I think I said since our last meeting. Nothing super dramatic, but the rates that were in the high 2s for the most part are now in the low 3s. And it's most likely going to, what has happened is that the Federal Reserve has come out and said that, yes, they're giving positive feedback that they are going to stop or reduce tapering. What that really means is that the Federal Reserve has been buying mortgage-backed securities and manipulating the market. And once they remove their manipulation, it's expected that rates will rise. The other interesting thing that happened as far as the Federal Reserve is that one of the members out of the Boston Federal Reserve, he is a voting, they get to vote on policy, different members, and that particular member is retiring. He had about 37 multi-million-dollar trades in mortgage-backed securities, which now people are starting to question. How is it that the people who are setting policy for mortgage-backed securities in the United States are allowed to trade and make money in the mortgage-backed security market? So we had 2 different members of the Federal Reserve retire this week, and they're going to be replaced by other people. But those new people could give us slightly or significantly different policies. So we'll see how that shakes out. But based on where the policies are now, rates have risen about 1/4% and most likely will continue to rise ever so slightly. But in December, the Fed may start to make dramatic changes to the tapering, in which case, first quarter of 2022, we could see rates rise some more.
Thank you for the update. It's all cool. Yeah, they're going to start tapering in November, if not before. They're supposed to be finished with the taper by June. So next spring will not be a friendly interest rate environment for buyers, which will affect sellers too. So it's all good. Okay, I'm going to get off a little early because I'm on my way to Bethpage, and I'm hoping all of you are going to be there. I'm hoping to see you. And as I said, if you don't have